Hello, people of the internet. Hugueny here. A lot of people have asked me that I do a Draw My Life video to get to know me better. Since my channel consists mostly of animated content, the creator of these videos has probably been a mystery to most of you. Until now. My full name is Logan Hugueny-Clark. I was born in a little hippie town just outside of Los Angeles called Ojai. My mom and dad met at work in Manhattan, New York. Apparently, my mom disliked my dad at first and farted during a long elevator ride in the World Trade Center to stop him from flirting with her. But he was persistent enough to eventually win her over and make me. I'll skip the gruesome details. Soon after, they moved to suburban California, where it would be a bit more convenient to raise a child than New York City. My dad comes from a long line of Scotsmen who originally immigrated to the US in the 1600s to escape persecution from the British. However, as much as my dad acknowledges his Scottish roots, he's about as all-American as they come. He was born in 1935, so he's been through a lot, including listening to the attack on Pearl Harbor happening live on the radio, being one of the last Americans to leave Cuba in 1961 during the missile crisis, serving as a lieutenant in the US Army, and surviving going to Saigon, Vietnam in 1968. What can I say about a guy who's casual about having to pick up his friend's brains after their army truck flipped? I grew up hearing a lot of stories and learning a lot of cool stuff from him, and I'm really thankful for that. And frankly, I'm not surprised that my dad lived through so much, since he came from a long line of family members who had survived major conflicts, such as my great-great-grandfather, Brazili Miller, who fought in the Civil War for the Union. He first saw combat at age 14 as a drummer boy, and by the end of the war, he was awarded a medal for beating a Confederate soldier to death with the butt of his gun after taking a bullet in the gut. My mom is a French immigrant born into a former colony in Morocco, North Africa, as her dad escaped there when the Nazis conquered France. She was the last of 9 children born to my grandmother and grandfather, who was a World War I veteran who fought on horseback against the German tanks and was subsequently mustard gassed in the trenches. My mom came to the United States when she was 8 years old on a freighter ship. Luckily, that means that I have French citizenship as well. Oui, c'est vrai, je suis français et américain. I must admit that it's funny growing up split between two cultures that aren't typically fond of each other, as if one half of my body should hate the other. But enough about distant history, and let's go back to my story. I was born and grew up in Ojai, California until I was 5 years old, when my mom, dad, and I had to move for my dad's work. We briefly went to Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, but finally ended up settling in London, England, which was very different from California. I moved from a quiet town that was trapped in an endless summer to a fast-paced metropolis that seemed to never stop pouring cold rain on my head. I also could barely understand anybody at first, since it was my first exposure to British accents. I definitely felt a lot of culture shock at first. One time, I got detention for saying the word fanny, because saying that word in England is the equivalent of saying cunt in the United States. After a while, though, I adjusted to my new environment and started to fit in. I made new friends at school who shared the same passions as me. I was obsessed with drawing as a kid. I used to always get in trouble at school for doodling in the margins of my school assignments. I also loved playing piano and took lessons from a great teacher. And of course, my mind was blown when I got my first gaming console, a Sega Genesis. It seems like an ancient device now, but at the time it was revolutionary. I would spend hours playing Sonic 3, Primal Rage, Desert Strike, and tons of other games, either with friends or by myself. A year after moving to England, my mom and dad had my little brother Grant. We were best friends growing up. Nintendo 64 sessions, making up ridiculous voice impersonations, and playing with action figures and hopping between furniture, pretending that the floor was lava were just a few of the many things we do as kids. I was also a major sci-fi movie geek as a kid. I loved movies like Aliens and Star Wars and would watch them over and over. My friends and I would always play and do voice impersonations and pretend that we were in the movies. Now let's fast forward a few years. My father started living separately from my mother back in California in what was the beginning of a very long, dragged out, and brutal divorce. I moved in with my dad when I was 14 and started going to high school in California. I was sad because my little brother had to stay back with my mom over 6,000 miles away. But there were a lot of good things about moving back to California. Even though my parents were going through a very rough separation, I was very close with my dad, and he was very supportive of my love for the arts. I took a lot of music classes at my school and learned how to play and compose music with a lot of different instruments. My teacher was actually a former roadie for the music group Van Halen when he was younger and was a really cool and supportive guy. My dad always took me to play golf and was obsessed with it. It was very relaxing and great bonding with him over the sport. But my true calling, in terms of sports, was skateboarding. I fell in love with it in high school. I started hanging out with a group of kids who wanted to get sponsored and become professional skaters. On the weekends, we would drive to LA and film ourselves skateboarding downstairs and handrails at famous spots around the city. We'd fall a lot more than we'd land tricks, but the adrenaline would always keep us going. However, even though I would have loved to be a professional skater, I had neither the skills nor the balls to compete with kids who could grind down 30-stair handrails. So, instead of pursuing that for a living, I sought to follow my passion in drawing and art. After I graduated from high school, I went to college at an art school called the Rhode Island School of Design, or RISD for short. I majored in animation, and lucky for me, I had the same animation professor as Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy. After graduating college, I moved back to California to seek work in Los Angeles. I thought it would be a piece of cake, seeing that LA is the entertainment capital. However, I found it very difficult to get a job. Having done a few bottom-level jobs, such as interning at Cheech and Chong's animated movie, I began uploading my own animations onto YouTube for fun. One of these animations, a music video parody of the film Titanic I created, went viral on YouTube. Financially, I did much better with this video than what I was making working on other traditional jobs thanks to the ad revenue through Google placing advertisements on my videos. I quickly realized that it could be possible to make a better living creating my own content on YouTube than working as an animator at a Hollywood studio. So, even though it was a risk, I decided to pursue this and kept making videos on my YouTube channel. And thanks to all of you, it worked. After a few years, I surpassed 1 million subscribers and 600 million views, something that I never thought I'd achieve in my entire lifetime. And amidst all this, I met an amazing girl named Whitney. We had been friends in high school and reunited years later, and soon became best friends, and after a short time, we fell in love and started dating. A while later, I asked her to marry me, and wouldn't you believe it, she said yes. It made me the happiest guy in the world. Of course, though, like most of life, with ups, there are also downs. One day I was on a train with Whitney and I fell asleep, only to wake up in an ambulance with no recollection of how I got there or what had happened. Whitney explained to me that after falling asleep that I began having a seizure. My eyes rolled into the back of my head, I started foaming at the mouth, and blood started streaming out the sides of my lips. After undergoing medical analysis and getting an MRI, the doctors discovered a brain tumor in my head. I know this may seem terrible, but I actually consider myself lucky. This is because the tumor is not growing for now. And if it starts to, it's on the outskirts of my brain so that it wouldn't be too difficult to remove. I might have to get surgery soon, and I hate the thought of getting my skull sawed open, but at least I know that it can be treated, and I am extremely thankful for this, because when the whole ordeal started, I assumed the worst. But instead of facing death, I got to resume the life that I love, being married to my best friend and making videos. I'd like to say that it took a lot of perseverance and hard work to get to where I am today, but the truth is, it's YouTube, partially, but even more so, it's all of you that allowed me to have this life. Yes, you there watching this. It's because of you that I'm able to do what I love for a living and be the person that I have become, and I can't thank you enough for this. Thank you so much. I am so happy and thankful to be able to make videos that I want to make, and even happier knowing that you enjoy watching them too. And who knows where the future will take me and what lies ahead. But what I can guarantee you is that if you keep tuning into my channel, you'll find out. I hope you enjoyed this video and getting to know me a little better. If you did, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button, and if you're not already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button to get new videos from me. What have you got to lose? It's free. Also, leave a comment, let me know what video you want to see me create next. And check out my vlog channel, We Play Life, for additional content that my wife and I create together. Also, follow me on social media. I'll be doing a Q&A video soon, and I'll be taking all the questions from my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. Until next time, thank you very much for watching and supporting my channel. I love you all so much. This wouldn't have been possible without each and every one of you. I'm really looking forward to making a ton of new videos and hope that you enjoy them. So anyway, until next time, I'm Hugueny. Peace out.